Welcome, everyone, to our June 16th meeting. We do have a presentation. It will be short, and then hopefully we will have a discussion afterwards. So we're just going to have a brief membership update, fundraising, hashtag untrashing, and then upcoming events. We started looking at an onboarding process so that we could look at individual volunteers and see exactly where they could fit best and how much time they had. We've started that process. Hopefully that will help move things along more smoothly. Alan had suggested creating a mentorship program so that new members that wanted to volunteer could be mentored by members that had been doing it for a while. We're in the process of developing that. We're looking, as always, for any feedback that people have on how we could improve, maybe something they were looking for that we didn't offer. So if you have any suggestions, please provide them. Did anyone else have membership updates?
I've brought in several handfuls of new members over the last week and a half. It's fun for me because I heard a really interesting term last week on one of our group calls and introductory calls that Jake had put together of the term solutionaries. It struck a chord with me that we're all solutionaries here and that we have our individual solutions and that we have to build a bigger tent to allow everyone with their individual solutions to come in and help work for planet repair. So I think that that's another term that I think we can add to our vernacular going forward.
Mm-hmm.
I had a very interesting conversation today with a group that I should be doing some work with. It's an ag tech group, and I discussed HPRT. And the gentleman that I was speaking with said, yeah, he'd love to get involved, even insofar as making donations. I thought that was encouraging. Always nice when people are so motivated without having to be inspired by the ask.
So Allison, talk about what Jake's doing in Amsterdam?
Yeah, Jake is starting sort of a pilot project where he's creating a local chapter in Amsterdam. Hopefully that will be the model to roll out in all other areas. What we're hoping is the people who join these calls continuously and want to volunteer and help us out will be able to form local chapters based on the model he's creating and help us with our fundraising activities. As we always mention, we're looking for opportunities to support our fundraising with campaigns and activities. We're creating a new campaign. So Rich and Jake and I have been working on putting together a package to create a fundraising campaign for our demonstration facility. As always, a successful campaign kind of has a few ingredients, one being a short timeline to kind of create a sense of urgency, two, having a realistic, attainable end goal in terms of how much you want to raise, and then hopefully you would have somebody who ideally would match funds or made a big donation to begin with so that you could sort of show that they weren't the first person on board. A lot of people don't like to be the leader in these things. They want to see that somebody else has come on board and validated it, I guess would be the best way. So we're working on putting together a package, which will include a PowerPoint presentation, an email, a one-pager that sort of describes the demonstration facility and what we're hoping to achieve. And then they can be adapted for local chapters and how you want to do it in your particular area or for particular donors, depending on whether, it's a corporation or a large donor or whether you're looking for sort of smaller funds. Does anyone have questions or comments on this?
I'm not usually a union kind of guy, but I call Jake's HPRT Local 001. I think it's actually the one union I would really support as a planet repair union. Along with that, if we're starting to branch out like that with sub-organizations and things, we need to really define our doctrines.
Yep.
That's sort of one of the things I'm certain to write down, or what are my doctrines?
Mm-hmm.
HPRT. I want the whole group to come in, and we should have the 10 commandments or whatever.
Yep.
I'm not trying to get biblical on all you guys.
No, definitely. Obviously, we should have our sort of structure and our values and everything clearly defined so that people have an understanding in their local chapters how to run them and what we want to see, and they can go from there.
Yeah, I think a lot of people can be more successful or more motivated maybe for local events, and it's really important that we define that in addition to our global efforts. Yeah, I think it's a good way to go is to have a union or whatever chapters.
Rich, that's going to put a lot of stress on our web development because we should bring up subpages or subsites for the locals.
Yeah, maybe we come up with some templates or something that, get them started, and then they can do their own thing on it a little bit too. I mean, be creative. Sure, there's a lot of motivated people out there and they have some great ideas. So any way we can help, that'd be great.
So we've actually been meeting with other organizations that have a lot of synergies with us, and we're hoping to build our partnerships and create new alliances. If anyone has any suggestions, we obviously don't want to reinvent the wheel. The whole idea is to bring together, like-minded people under one umbrella and use all of our knowledge and our abilities to heal the planet. Anybody that has an idea of somebody that might be a great partner for us, please let us know. That's sort of what we're trying to build right now in that area.
And I can add to that, in Southwest Florida, there's a Growing Climate Solutions. The president of that group has been very supportive of our message and our mission and what we've been doing. We'll be able to do some co-branding with what she's doing. And they've got quite a large reach with very large companies and organizations here in Southwest Florida.
Awesome. Next week is our social hour. Join us. If there's any events that you think we should attend, virtual or otherwise, please let us know so that we can build our brand and get the word out there.
Tyler, did we put up an event for the social hour like we have for this meeting, an Eventbrite?
Yes.
Yes.
I believe it's on the events page on the website, and it's also this same Zoom coordinate as well. So you can save it in without having to necessarily re-register every time. Questions, answers, reflections.
I see the reflection.
Gorgeous.
Reflections, I think we're definitely on the right path from the standpoint of the demonstration facility, and the biochar is being one of the most robust and permanent carbon sequestration methodologies. I say that because Puro Earth just sold 2,600 tons of their corks, which are carbon credits within their methodology and network, at $565 a ton. So that's got to be a record as far as the value of carbon credit.
Wow.
We're going to be working on engaging with them for establishing a pre-cork methodology for the build out of our facilities and engaging with them on moving that forward, but also from the standpoint of the large volumes of biochar and downstream processed materials. The value of that is just phenomenal. It's exciting for me because I've been working on it and shouting from the mountaintops for 4 years, but now it seems like it's turned into real concrete. People are listening.
Yes.
It's really exciting. And Puro Earth has been now 1 year working with NASDAQ, and Zurich, the insurance company, is also engaging with Puro Earth. We're dealing with large institutions and large purchase kind of contracts rather than mom and pop type of small change type of scenarios. I did the math. I think that one $2,600 cork purchase was like $1.4 million.
Wow.
And that was only a small number of carbon credits at 2,600. But I think the total number of corks sold through Puro Earth is getting into the hundreds of thousands now.
Well, tomorrow we have a meeting, right, Tyler?
Yep.
Our objective with the meeting with them is to see if we can pre-sell HPRT corks off of what we're looking at for the Proving and Planning Center.
Multiple years.
Well, good luck, guys. Good luck. Good vibes there.
So that's my reflection.
It's easier for us to sell things than to try to go find donations.
That's a good one. Yep,
Exactly.
for sure.
So if there's any other thoughts or comments or questions, we're all here. So chime on in. Otherwise, we can get back to our groove.
If I may, I'm still looking for collateral materials. I know it's worth the wait. Just want to be vigilant and diligent.
Thank you, John, for reminding me for my weekend's work.
Yeah. Okay. Well, and happy Father's Day to those who caused us to celebrate.
Absolutely.
I guess we all do.
We've been really focused on that and a couple other things. My week's just been insane, but cycling back on this, and we get a couple of the commercial things across the line. They'll help the nonprofit side.
Yeah,
Certainly.
in a huge way.
So John, we do have a one-pager describing the demonstration facility that Jake, we finished it up the other day and he was going to put it into a PDF. So that is done. I'm going to do a template email that you can adjust that sort of describes the facility and what it will do, what's in it for the person donating. And then we just need the PowerPoint presentation. So
Sure. Thank you.
I also applied for a couple of grants this week with a couple other groups. Clearer Thinking has a grant program. I filed for that. And if we get selected, it's anywhere from $10,000 to $500,000. And I basically applied for a grant to work on the connectory, the playbooks, the leagues, and once we get those done, pushing all that into a gamification strategy.
Nice. Awesome. Yay.
I did get a little bit of work done this week on HPRT.
awesome.
Good job.
Keep swinging.
Marco, did you have thoughts or questions? I thought you chimed in.
I was going to chime in, and I hate to sound out of place or kind of clueless. Obviously, I'm not exactly up to speed on everything you guys are doing, but I wanted to kind of throw out there a few questions, and I was wondering how maybe a few different things could fit into what you guys have going on, and it's kind of all over the place.
Maybe you could reach out to me and we could have an offline conversation to kind of direct you better. Yeah, happy to have another separate call with you.
Yeah, cool.
So with all these parallel efforts going on, do we have a strategy to personal appeal to our personal networks, messaging in that response? Following up on my post this morning, I did reach out to my fellow chief operating officer at Live Golf, who lives in the Tampa area and is a graduate of the Kellogg School of Management in the US. And I just placed in the chat the message I sent him through LinkedIn. But here is a corporation that's got an image issue. And I think there's probably hundreds of these types of companies that we've been talking about over the past year, whether they be in the oil business, the food business, whatever. I still think that we probably have within our personal networks an opportunity to appeal to our contacts on Facebook, LinkedIn, to make a donation to HPRT in the short term. Obviously, we can abandon these efforts if we get a grant or we get an award from some other source. Short-term raising comes from the circle on out. It comes from us personally funding our own mission, and then it comes from friends and family, and then it comes from our close contacts in these social networks. That's typically the way it should happen, and it does happen in a lot of nonprofits I've been involved in. Most recently, one that is combating human trafficking around the world that my wife is the head of. It comes from the inside out. So I just wanted to throw that out there. Maybe something that Marco was alluding to in his brainstorming as to, how are we going to raise funds?
My question was more like, how could different technologies that aren't really seen yet in a prolific or any way fit into any of the grants you guys are applying for, or if it fits into the mission in general? So like if I wanted to throw one of them out there, it'd be like agrovoltaics, which is something they're doing in Norway, where they use transparent solar to cover agriculture, mainly like berries and stuff like that. And there's a synergistic effect. The plants actually cool off the panels. It produces more electricity, things like that.
So Marco, we're responding to an agrivoltaic grant with the USDA. I've just started reading through the grant. That's absolutely one of the technologies that we should have at the Proving Center and integrate into it.
And then the other one was radiative cooling, which is like a solar technology as well. I don't know if you guys have seen the TEDx talk. I think there's 2 companies right now in the US that have radiative cooling products. Those panels, they don't use any electricity. They alter the UV rays of the sun and they reflect heat past the atmosphere and off of the planet.
That's interesting.
Yeah, I was like literally daydreaming last night about going to Greenland or the North Pole or something and just setting them up everywhere.
Cool.
Just to touch on John's question with regards to the fundraising, Rich and Jake and I have been meeting and coming up with strategies, and Tyler as well. And what we've sort of decided is the initial focus will be on appealing for funds for the demonstration facility, because it's something we can describe very well. And we can tailor the message to say what's in it for you. We can actually define pretty clearly what is going to come out of it. So that's the initial strategy, is to create a campaign around the demonstration facility. And then we'll provide you with kind of a package, and you can tailor the package depending on who your target is.
I just have found that campaigns that obviously you can do mass mailing where you have a database of contacts, you fashion a letter. Obviously in that mass mailing, you can use coded placeholders for first name, last name, that kind of thing, salutation. The success rate on that we're finding is below 2%. And that when you do a personal message and you include something within that message that demonstrates to that recipient that this is a one-off unique message to them alone, the response rate is higher than 20%, in some cases higher than 50%. So I'm just kind of opening the discussion a little bit to give some background. And obviously there's people on this call, especially Alan, that have deep knowledge of these types of metrics and design in outbound emails and campaigns. I'm just thinking in terms of how much of this is immediate need and response rates versus, a little bit longer term campaign. And I think the demo facility obviously is a great linchpin when someone says, what are you going to use the funds for? But I'm talking precursor to that. How do you even get eyeballs on it and some type of response?
Well, so
And so
generally
that's-
speaking, fundraising campaigns are successful when they have a target in mind. I mean, most people want to know, okay, if I give my money, what's going to happen with my money? It's
That's why
describing.
GoFundMe, yeah, that's why GoFundMe is so successful. It's a very targeted,
Exactly.
specific ask around, especially
So
infrastructure.
the issue with long-term funding is right now, what we can describe is kind of very loose. So we decided that it would be better to focus it on the demonstration facility where we could very easily describe to the person exactly what they will get out of their donation.
And
it's
so
something
are
that
you
we can
talking
report
about,
on.
are you talking about different levels within that message on
Yes.
donorship? Okay.
Yes.
And where does that start?
We started with a one-pager that describes the demonstration facility, what we're going to do with their money. And then I'm going to come up with sort of a draft letter. So anytime you kind of come up with these things, it's literally just to give the person key messages in terms of the target, defining what's in it for the person,
Yep.
etc. The idea is that you would take that and adapt it and personalize it for your purposes.
What I'm saying is the reason that GoFundMe and other similar platforms are so successful is they have tiered donorship. So $50, $100, and what you get for your 50, what you get for your 100, what you get for your 1,000, what you get for your 10,000.
That's what we're working on.
Okay, you're
That's
working on
what
that
we're
now.
working on is trying to define, like, how are we going to describe a $10 donation? Will it be a brick? So that's sort of what we're working on right now.
Okay.
Is we're trying to work, okay, so how will we describe a tangible thing for your money?
An engraved brick is a great example because there is a cost to engraving that brick. You certainly want your donation to exceed.
But it also could be non-physical in that it could be a membership level. And that's what we're also discussing.
Let me know if I can help with that at all. I've been involved in
Yes,
things as small as building a new clubhouse.
most definitely, John.
Yeah, one of the other things we mentioned too, like a brick or something, but be like a plaque or or something that we could put on the facility itself or put it on the webpage too of the initial big hitters that jumped in and helped things go along.
Yeah, I mean, we put plaques in gardens. We put them on rocking chairs on a porch. Anywhere you can put a label, a plaque, a memorial.
Right.
And you have different tiered levels. Yeah, you just have to think about how that kind of alters your facility in some way, not necessarily for the negative or the worse or the better. You just have to understand what it would look like and what it does. Yeah.
Yeah, as a demonstration facility, we should have great opportunity there to highlight things like that. So hopefully other people have other ideas too that we're not thinking of. So if you have any, please get them to us. So we're working
In
on it.
Calgary here, we have a huge hospital beside me, and on the wall when you walk in, there is what you said there, a massive plaque with all the biggest donators' names are all displayed on the front walls. As you walk in, it's actually very heartwarming to walk in and see all those names up there and what they've done. So absolutely.
Yeah, that's the classic application. Very, very good. Yeah, very true, Nancy. The other one is stations of the cycle, where you have a facility that's actually going through a circular process and you have a plaque for each station in the process sponsoring that each phase or each stage in that processing facility. So that's another one that's really popular. But anyway, enough on the...
Yeah, no, good ideas.
Any other questions? Kelly, did you want to say something?
Sure. Really nice to meet everybody. I was lucky enough to spend some time talking to Tyler out in Naples and kind of hear what you guys are all about. I watched a couple videos online and things like that. A little background on myself. My name is Kelly Burke. My husband and I have a hemp company and we're kind of pivoting into the fiber space. We're selling genetics this year and working really hard with one of our partners that does the grain silos to try to make this kind of like a rotation crop here in the Midwest. I believe we're the only company that's super serious about doing a larger scale, how Tyler put it, macrame facility to process hemp into fiber forms. I actually have something here. One of our partners has some big meetings coming up, but it's been very difficult to get it into the paper and corrugated box world. But I do have some material that's one of the more finer hemp materials that's available that can actually be put through those paper mill machines. So it's definitely going to be a big couple of months to try to launch that. And there's some big meetings and things like that. So wish us luck in that regard. And trying to do my part to move us from maybe less sustainable options to plastics that are produced by hemp or other things that could be biodegradable and made.
Love it. Yeah. Welcome, Kelly.
Thanks,
Good
Kelly.
luck. Good luck.
Good to see you
guys. Nice to see you as well. Yeah, I'm glad I could make it. I'll start trying to come on a little bit more frequently.
Great. Thank you so much.
You're surrounded by a bunch of hemp heads.
Good. Yes. I would say we definitely are that.
Yeah.
Looking forward to learning a little bit more about everybody who's on the call. I won't make you guys go through. I'm sure you're at the tail end of your call, but I look forward to hearing more about each and every one of you and how you're impacting the space and what your initiatives are.
Yeah, we'll have a social next week as well.
Cool.
It'll be less of a presentation and more of a round robin, getting introductions.
Okay. All right, I like it. Good. Yes.
Anything else? John, do you have anything to say?
If you mean me, I've said what I meant and meant what I said. So looking forward to moving forward.
All right, guys.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I just wish everybody a happy Father's Day weekend. Not only are you doing amazing jobs with Hot Planet Repair Team, but every day with your families. So get out there, enjoy the Father's Day weekend. I know there's lots of car shows in Calgary.
Thank you so much.
Enjoy.
All right. Have a
Bye,
great
everyone.
weekend.
Nice to meet you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Bye now.
Bye, guys.
Thanks, everybody.